So our next speaker is Inge Wallin. He's a KOffice developer, and gosh, Inge, I really don't even know what you're going to show us in terms of extreme coolness. Please get set up. Okay, as a public service announcement, while we're switching laptops, please, if you're sitting at the recharging stations, please don't. Please leave your laptop there. Leave the leg room for the people who are passing by. If there's leg room enough, you're okay. KOffice 2, the KDE Office suite. Thanks, Inge.
Yes. Okay. Aaron was describing the new technologies in the desktop, in the general improvements of the desktop. I'm the first in line of a number of speakers who are going to talk about certain modules. My module is the KOffice suite. And just as KDE has been experiencing a complete rewrite in the KDE4 line, KOffice is experiencing the same. And we are going from version 1.6 to version 2. And I will talk to you about what's happening in KOffice 2 and what you can expect. Now, just a few words about myself. I'm a KOffice developer. I have been a free software developer since 1986, so I'm quite much older than most of the people in the project. My title, if you wish, is the KOffice Marketing Coordinator. We don't have much of a marketing department because it's basically me. I write release notes, I write text, and so on. But it has proved to be enough because we have very active people running, taking our release notes and pushing them to Slashdot and OS News and so on. And I hope now that all the collected journalists here will help me also in the message, to bring the message out to people. I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm going to introduce KOffice to you because I think that most of you haven't seen it. Basically, we're the most comprehensive Office suite in the existence. We have a large number of productivity applications. KWord, KSpread, and KPresenter is the three large applications in KOffice. What they do should be obvious. Kexi is something of an Access copy, Microsoft Access, a personal database which you can use on your desktop, and you can also use it with a database server. We have, which Microsoft Office does not have, also a creativity suite consisting of a program called Krita. Krita is a layered pixel-based image editor, much like Photoshop. Carbon is the same, but for vectors. And Kivio is a flowchart application like Visio, also for Microsoft. We have a management application called KPlato, which means the K-planning tool. A tool for managing projects. It's a project management application. We also have some help applications, a charting tool, formulas, mathematical formulas, thesaurus, and so on. And I'm going to start with giving you a slight overview of how the applications look. This here is KWord in its present state. We have the document area here. And almost all of the KOffice applications look the same in general. But the data in it, of course, vary very much. To the left, we have a toolbox with some tools that can handle the contents of the documents. And depending on what type of documents and what types of data we handle, the tools will vary. On the right, we have option windows for the tools and also for other dockers. And all of these are dockable, and you can remove them from the application like that. You can move them to other parts of the window. Like that. So it's very flexible. You can work as ever you like. Some applications in Linux world have separate dialogues for everything. Some applications have a main window where everything resides. KOffice tries to be the best of both worlds. I will come to that. Now, inside the document, we have normal data like text in the Word processor. We have numbers in the spreadsheet application and so on. But we also have something called shapes. A shape can be a very simple thing. It can be a line. It can be a rectangle, etc., etc. It can also be a slightly more complex thing, like a chart. And the shapes, when I move them around, the text will, of course, move around it. And you can configure how the text will appear around the shape. You can do a number of manipulations of these shapes. You can rescale them, of course. You can rotate them. And the text will, once again, move around it. Just to give you an example of another application, this is Carbon, the vector-based editor. It's the same here, but the standard tools are not the same. So basically, a KOffice application is a collection of tools and a collection of default data types that you can use with it. But nevertheless, you can use any shape in any KOffice application. So you can embed, for instance, a chart into a pixel-based image. You can embed vector data into your databases, and so on and so on. OK. So what are the properties of KOffice? It's pretty powerful, as you can see. It's also fast. It starts up just as fast as all the other KDE applications. It has a low resource consumption, at least in comparison to some other application suites. We share a lot of development with the KDE project. We have common technologies. KDE libs is the base for KOffice, which makes it portable to other platforms, as well as give us leeway to use a lot of the advanced technologies like Phonon and so on. We also share developers. So many developers who work on KOffice have also started out in KDE, or the other way around. And also some technologies that started out in KOffice, like Cross, have now switched into KDE libs. One of the key points of KOffice is that it supports Open Document. And you may wonder what this image does here. Actually, if you go to Google Image and search for Open Document, this is one of the pictures that you will find on the front page. Open Document is the standard format for Office document interchange. And it's supported by very many applications today. And it's always growing. It's an ISO standard, which makes it eligible in many state and government functions. So you can, in some countries, not choose an application that doesn't support the ISO standard if there is one. So in this case, KOffice is compliant with the standard, and we will use it. And we were actually the first application suite that supported Open Document. OpenOffice was the first one to make it the standard file format, but we were the first one to actually support it. We're also a member of the technical committee. So some people who don't like Open Document say that this is a scheme by Sun to control the computing world. We want to deny that vehemently, because we have been part of defining the standard, and we will continue to be part of defining the standard as far as we can see for the a very long future. Another key point of KOffice is that it's portable. You've seen before All the KDE applications are either running or will be running at the time of 4.1 on Windows, on Mac OS X, and of course all the Unix derivatives like Linux and Solaris and so on. And what you can see here is a picture of a screenshot, actually, of Kword running on Windows. So it is working. Not all the components are working yet on Windows, and not all the components are, all the features are working. But we have proofs of concept for most of the application, and it will be done. One reason for running KOffice, except for the low resource consumption and so on, is that it's well integrated into everything that we can find. For me, the killer application of KDE is integration. I can integrate any application into any other that supports integration at all. And this is an example. If you surf to a website that produces or publishes documents in any format that's supported by KOffice, you will be able to view this document inside your browser. Of course, if the browser supports embeddability. Concur does. So a proof of concept here. You can view a text file inside Concur. This is actually a screenshot from KOffice 1.6. So it doesn't show an ODF file. But that doesn't matter in principle, because it will work the same on Open Document as it will on Kword's old format. The interesting thing is that, as Aaron also mentioned, KOffice has great support for Open Document, and this Open Document support will move into KDE Libs. It's not certain if it will happen for 4.1 or 4.2, but when that happens, most of the KDE desktop will also be able to support Open Document. Applications will be able to write reports and whatever in Open Document, and you will be able to read these files into OpenOffice, KOffice, or any other Open Document conforming application. We also try to be well integrated into other desktops following the freedesktop.org specifications. So we can cut and paste between KOffice and other desktop applications. We will use the same type information, for instance, Open Document text or Open Document spreadsheets or so on. And we also will have a native look and feel through the power of KDE Libs, as you have seen already. KOffice is very flexible. It's all built up of a pretty small core. And around this core, there is a plugin architecture that makes you able to write plugins that will immediately integrate with the rest of KOffice applications. OpenOffice has something similar. They call it extensions. And it has proven once and again that once you make this open for users and other developers to run, people will write applications. People will write extensions. And that's what we're happening too. Every KOffice application is also scriptable through cross with Java, with JavaScript, with Python and Ruby. And once cross integrates more languages, those will also come to KOffice, of course. It's also a very simple code base, measured in a number of ways. It's 850,000 lines of code, approximately, at this time. And calling that simple, OK, it may be a stretch. But still, the architecture offers people to quickly come into it and write actual usable things. We have had a number of Summer of Code students. If you know the Google Summer of Code project, they given, I think it's $500 for how much? $4,500 for a student to work during a summer. And for this, they will produce some result. And Google always selects the projects. You have to apply, and then they select the projects that they allow. And KOffice has had a number of these, and we have had some pretty interesting results. You will see some of them later. This is one of them. OK, I talked a bit about flake shapes before. They're embeddable shapes. They're very simple, or they can be very simple. and they can also be pretty complex if you want that. The thing is that they're pretty simple to create. And I think this is Aaron's pointing device, is it? Yes. This, what you can see here, is Kword with an embeddable music score flake shape. There was a student who wanted to create a proof of concept for a chart editor, a score editor, and we thought that okay, this might be a good proof of concept for Flake as well. So he worked during summer, and now suddenly K-chart, Kword, and K-spread, and all the other ones are can embed musical scores like this. Okay, he didn't get the full result during just the summer. He continued afterwards, but he had something that was pretty workable already after just 2 months or something. And we think that this will happen a lot. People will see, okay, we need to embed a certain data type that's not really supported in other Office suites. Quickly, for some measure or quickly, create a flake shape, and suddenly it's available for all KOffice users. And of course, if the people who do this make it available through the Get Hot News Stuff system, you will also be able to download it to your computer. As you saw before, it's also pretty versatile. You can manipulate the shapes, you can rotate, scale, and drag and drop, and so on. Yep?
Can you associate musical information with those shapes?
At this point, no. It saves in something called Music XML, which you can extract and use in other editors. But right now, it's not. It's a standalone thing. It's not connected to anything. But I see no reason why we wouldn't be able to do that in the future. Hmm? Yes. Another technology that's used in KOffice is something we call Pigment, which is a color management library. Now, Office suites are often distinguished from publishing suites, mostly because Office suites can't handle color models. If you use the standard color model of RGB, possibly RGBA, A standing for alpha channel, which is transparency, exactly. That's the bad thing of not being a native English speaker. You have to search for words. You will be able to edit your documents just fine, but the printing industry will say, we won't take your documents because we can't guarantee the quality on paper. For doing that, you need to have another color module, the so-called CMYK, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and I don't know. It's black, but probably the K has some meaning too. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and KDE, right? And since we use Pigment, all of the applications within KOffice will have the ability to use CMYK. This is not certain to be done for 2.0, but it will happen eventually. And Pigment is much more versatile than this. You can have any color model. You don't have to have a certain number of numbers for it, like for instance RGB, three color components, CMYK 4, RGBA 4, and so on. We have also been able to model some pretty different and some pretty advanced color models like oil paint, watercolors, and so on. And the interesting thing with Pigment is that you will be able to mix colors from these color modules through automatic conversion of one color model to another. Okay, the result of mixing a watercolor and oil paint with RGB, something is perhaps not going to come out really well, but it will be possible. In fact, it's already possible. And especially in Krita, which is a painting application, you can already do things like defining colors on a palette, and then just by using a mouse or a tablet, mix the colors as if you were using a physical palette. And this is research stuff. This can't be found anywhere else in the world, at least not with the algorithms that we're using. Okay, as I said before, we have a very flexible architecture using plugins, extensions. These can be both KOffice-wide. For instance, if you create a new Flake shape, you will be able to use that in every KOffice application. They can also be application dependent. Every application, or at least some of the applications right now, provide plug-in possibilities for some types of operations. For Krita, for instance, you have some pretty advanced image manipulation plugins, which are not part of KOffice and Krita itself. One of the Krita developers, who, by the name of Cyril Berger, publishes a set of plugins which you can use. And we think that there will be more of these. And as I said, scripting using cross provides a pretty flexible way of extending things. It's language independent. Modules written in different languages can call each other as subroutines or as coroutines. But there is also a GUI-less mode. So if you have a problem with Office automation, you need to, for instance, take a template of an invoice or something, fill in the rows or columns of it with items and prices. You can do that automatically by just using KOffice, a short or a long cross script, and then produce the output, which is a document with complete filled in address, items, and so on and so on. This also makes it very easy to integrate KOffice with external software from other vendors and other document handling systems and so on. OK, that's about the technology behind KOffice. What do we think will happen now? When we release 2.0, KOffice, as we think, will be advanced enough to be used by some users. Some other users will still find it lacking features and so on. We think that the early adopters here will be schools. As I said earlier, it's very flexible. We have a vision where people, developers, or users will take KOffice as components or KOffice as a collection of shapes, remodel it into specific target users' needs, and then publish it for their own users. For instance, we have a vision about a very simple word processor, which can be used in schools for small children. They don't need things like footers or table of contents or whatever. Just very simple. Enter text, make it bold or italic, make it centered or left or right aligned. That's it. But still, even though the GUI is very simple, the full power of the open document compliant KOffice is behind it. So it will be able to save files in the open document format, and OpenOffice and KWord and all the other open document compliant software will be able to read it and publish it. We also think that since the resources that we consume are much smaller than several other application suites, it will be used in small devices like the EEE PC and so on, as well as KDE users, because most KDE users want a well-integrated Office suite. OK, many people will think that it's too simple in the 2.0 release and will wait for it to be 2.1, 2.2, or so on. But we think that even 2.0 will find its home in many KDE users' computers. And of course, with the speed that development is happening right now, in future, we think there are no specific target groups. Everybody will be interested in KOffice in one way or another. They may not choose it, but they will look at it. So about the future. We have so far not been able to integrate everything that KDE4 offers. One of the things is Sonnet that Aaron was mentioning, spell checking, which is language dependent, language detecting. You can actually spell check in the same document, Hebrew, this is German, and this is English, in the same document without any configuration at all. This is not possible to do with 2.0. It will likely happen for 2.1 or 2.2. Of course, we want to integrate more with the rest of the KDE applications. KDE personal information management with mail, calendar, and so on is not available for 4.0, so we'll have to wait to 4.1. If this will happen with KOffice 2.1 or we'll have to wait to 2.2, we don't know. We'll see. But we will integrate with everything that makes sense to integrate with. We will also see some new components. We have 11 already. We will likely see more. We can't package everything. Many other people will have to come up with components, but we will integrate some that we think are good for the users, like, for instance, mind map application. With the mind map, you can sketch out your thoughts about a certain subject, and then from this mind map, create a Word document, complete with table of contents and everything. Yes? That's KDE4. Yeah, I took that as an example of a mind map. And of course, just as KDE 4.0, 4.1, and so on allows users to be part of development, so will KOffice. We will see some things coming from users that we can't imagine today, and I'm not going to try to foresee what's happening. I do think that one of the things that will happen is that people will adapt it to their special needs or their users' special needs. And we will also see increased business involvement in this. Integration into workflow and companies, office automation, and so on and so on. And there is actually a newly formed company that can help other people do this. A support company special for KOffice. We will see what happens when KOffice 2 comes along. OK, questions? Just a second. Where's the microphone? Joss, can you?
Back when you were showing off Krita, you mentioned CYMK and
Yes.
and the printing industry. As far as color calibration goes, would that be specific to Krita, or would it be more system wide?
Many of these technologies start out in one of the applications of KOffice, and then if it makes sense, it's moved up to either KOffice libraries, making it available to all KOffice applications, or even KDE libs, making it available for all KDE applications. In this case, CMYK and color space modeling is used in Krita and will be used in most of KOffice. OK, you're next. You're first. Yes.
OK, the question is, I have two questions. The first question regards about when you plan to release the program about maps.
Maps?
The
mind maps, OK.
Mind map,
Mm-hmm.
OK. And if will we support Garmin maps format?
When I say maps, mind maps, that's an abstract thing where you jot down things on a paper. So maps, as in Garmin maps or street maps, or something, that's something else. Maybe somebody will add a shape for maps. I don't know.
Okay.
But
And the other question is more simple. That regards the word, the keyword. If it supports forms.
Tables, you mean, or
forms like invoices. Invoices. For example.
Well, the general answer is right now, no. We may have time to actually get that working for 2.0, but a better guess is probably 2.1.
I see that the new edition is more beautiful than the previous one.
Yes.
And I see that, with all respect with the other, that will be more challenging to start Office. So I am used to start Office for about 7 years or more, and this look very beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is that microphone on?
Oh, well. Will KOffice work in KDE 3.5.5?
Yes,
Okay.
but it will perhaps not be perfectly integrated. OK?
Yeah, I have a question about KPresenter.
Yes?
I always considered the feature of supporting dual head systems as a key feature of presentation software. Is this considered, or is it already implemented to view the presentation on the outside display and the flow of the slides and notes and all this on the internal display?
It's definitely considered. I don't know if it's yet implemented. I can't follow every aspect of 850,000 lines of code, but it will be there eventually, I'm sure.
All right, I just wanted to know how...
Can we send the microphone?
Being recorded, so you might...
Okay. I was interested in what KOffice development is like. How many of you guys are working on it? What the structure is to that?
Yeah, okay. We are about more or less 20 people developing in our spare time. And we have a growing community, but it's growing very slowly. Mostly, I think, because we have been through a very heavy period. We switched from our own file formats to Open Document. We switched from KDE3 technology to KDE4 technology. And basically, we're halfway or three-quarters through that heavy period. But it is a difficult time right now, and we do need help. But once we're actually released 2.0, things will take off pretty quickly, and we will see amazing development. But still, we're only 20 people, and we have 11 components to take care of, and we have no budget whatsoever. Anybody else? Last question? Okay, thank you.